Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about transit Neptune Sextile or Trine one's natal moon. Now, this transit may manifest in dreams, inspiration, idealism, sacrifice, fantasizing. This could be actually in harmony with the emotional needs in your mood, what you feel like doing. I'm going to elaborate and expound on that. This could be about, what you dream, what you fantasize about. This is a time where you might have more of a need to fulfill that at this time, and it's a time where your home and family members might actually feel more compatible with that. And what I'm saying is, they may be more supportive of what your dreams are, what you fantasize at this time, what you think you can attain. And those things may be, it's not something where, it's like a pipe dream. It's something where, you may have dreamt, about attaining, which could actually be realistic. And you can get these, more of an opportunity during this transit to get the support again from the home, from the family, from people you're close to home with, and even prominent women in your life at this time. And this could be a time too where you might just simply feel more like doing things that are Neptune related, whether it might be poetry, dancing, photography, the metaphysical, which includes astrology, chemistry, as some examples. And you're more about sacrificing for others, maybe something you may be more in the mood for, and something you may feel more like doing at this time. And another thing too about this transit is that it's also a time where you might, try to attain something, your own ideal home and family situation. If you're somebody that hasn't started, you're creating your own family at this point in time. This could be that time where you feel more like you could attain that, being more idealistic in doing so. And this could be, time as well during this transit where you may be more inspired to do things for the home and family. I mean, say if you have, the natal moon in Aquarius, it could be doing some kind of computer or electronic work, or electrical wiring in the home, something with electronics. Um, if somebody in the family is, connected with astrology, and if you're into that as well, that could be something that you may be able to provide assistance to. Now, it's also a time during this transit as well. It's about, you're sacrificing again for people that you're close to home with, home family members, and it's also a time where you're willing to be more, idealistic in matters, with the home and family, people that are prominent women in your life, I should say. It doesn't mean, you're completely oblivious to the negative qualities of these people, but you're willing to accentuate and emphasize more of the positive associated with these people, more so than you ordinarily would. And this is also a time, if there's any confusion in your life, or there's anything, might be nebulous or unclear, moon connected people can be more beneficial in helping you with these matters. And say if you have, the transit Neptune in the fourth house, you're trying to find out something regarding your ancestry and roots, and it's very, there's something very nebulous and unclear regarding it. Your family members may actually be beneficial in helping you figure that. You try to clear things up and be able to help you sort out any confusion regarding that. Now, it's a time too. Um, if you can, when you have this transit, let's say you have, something, going on that's anatomically connected with the moon, whether it be the chest, the breast, the stomach, water retention, ribs. You know, um, it can be a time where you may be more inspired to do something about it. if you've had, a situation where you procrastinated or hesitated on these matters, and you do have something as a physical related issue associated with the moon, this could be the time where you might have that more motivation and inspiration to take care of it at this time, more so than you ordinarily would. And it may be more of a time when you're just more idealistic, not necessarily not unrealistic, but idealistic in terms of trying to resolve the issues at this time, and being able to find, do something to cope, with the problems a little bit better. And it's also a time as well where I would say it's a good time, as far as dreams go. Neptune, has to do with, psychic receptivity. The moon is the unconscious. It might be a time where you might actually be a little more prophetic than usual. You may be more intuitive, regarding things. Um, at this time, maybe it's a time where, during the unconscious state, during dreaming, where you might, pick up on something intuitively. Um, it could be, where we have this transit as well. Um, it might be a time, during this transit where you're able, it might be about responding and reacting quicker, or, easily be able to respond to people, that aren't connected, with Neptune, whether it be people that are in poetry or dancing or photography, um, or, the metaphysical, which includes astrology. Um, it could also be a time when this transit does take place for you. Again, it's a very positive and auspicious transit, because you're talking about, good relationship between the planet Neptune and your natal moon. It's a time, I would say, could also be, very compassionate time, supportive, because Neptune has a connection with compassion, and also the moon is associated with caring, with sympathy. And it's a time too where it could be beneficial in terms of isolating for your emotional needs at this time. If you have your natal moon in Gemini, as an example, it could be doing a variety of things, or manifold things, or it could simply be, could be reading, or, simulating information. It could be doing things that are connected with mental stimulation, or playing some kind of games, that have, mental challenge to them, such as haiku or lumosity, as some examples. And it's more of a time where it can be very positive for expressing compassionate feelings, and expressing compassion, the right amount, toward home, family members, people you're close to home with, prominent women in your life. And you might feel more inspired to do things with the public at this time. It has the right amount of inspiration at this point in time. And the thing is, some people may wonder, well, what's the difference between transit Neptune sextile or trine the natal moon to transit Neptune conjunct one's natal moon? Well, the transits are actually comparable and similar, but the conjunction is more intensifying. And when you have the transit with the transit Neptune conjoining one's natal moon, in some cases it may indicate where fatigue or your sleepiness might impact you from doing home and family related matters. And when you have this transit, you may be able to do, it's more about being inspired, having the right amount of inspiration to do something, that's home and family related. Or, when you have the conjunction, it might be, sometimes you can have too much inspiration in doing something to the point where it's to the exclusion, or you're oblivious to other things. So that's how it could differ. Now, it's also a time where you might be more inspired for doing things that are public related. If you're a door-to-door salesman, or you're just simply working in a restaurant and food, this is a time where you feel more, you might be more up to doing that, because Neptune again is about inspiration and idealism, and the moon is connected with the public. Now, another way this transit may manifest, it could be about having the inspiration, which is Neptune. and to do things that are associated with your emotional needs, which is the moon. Now, let's say, for example, going back to the moon in Gemini as an example, those emotional needs may include something with manual dexterity, such as auto refrigeration mechanics. It could be doing something with communications, or just simply something that requires a lot of mobility. Hold on a moment, people. Sorry about that, I'm back. But anyway, and it's also about things you may dream and fantasize about, which is Neptune. You might be more in that mood, which is the moon, to attain. Let's say, for example, if the transit Neptune, was in Sagittarius, it could be something with exploration, which is Sagittarius of the sea. And what is it? I'm sorry, if the transit Neptune is in Sagittarius in the 12th house, it could be about exploration, which is Sagittarius of the sea, and what's hidden, which is the 12th house. Now, also to Neptune related people may be more in harmony and agreement with that your unconscious side, which is the moon. Now, let's say, for example, if the natal moon is in Taurus, that unconscious side may be very peaceful, persistent. It could be warm, even caring, uh, steadfast, as some examples. This could also be a very positive time for escape, which is Neptune, for what you feel like doing, and what you feel like doing is connected with the moon. Let's say, for example, if the natal moon is in Scorpio, it could be locksmithing, astrology, it could be occult, which includes astrology, psychology, it could be recycling, as some examples, and also it could be a time where you're idealistic, which is Neptune, about what you can do that is home, which is moon related. The moon is in Sagittarius. It could be simply expanding or extending the home. It's a partition, expanding it one way or another, doing so very exuberantly, with a lot of exuberance and enthusiasm, I'm sure. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.